Hey, what's up everyone, Johnny the Geek here, and today I'm going to be upgrading my budget-friendly Asus X401A-RBL4 laptop. I did a review on this and I'll put a link in the description and I'll put a link right here to that review. And so I'm going to be upgrading the hard drive and the memory on this system. Now, for the basic average user, this is not necessary. It has more than enough space and memory to get you by through college or whatever, high school. And I just happen to need to be upgrading things because I'm a tinkerer and I need more power for other power user reasons. Anyways, this is a 500 gig 72 RPM hybrid hard drive, the Momentus XT. And it's replacing the 320 gig hard drive that's inside. It's a slower 5400 RPM hard drive that's inside here, right? So I'll be replacing that with this. And then the memory chip, what I found out about the memory in this laptop is that there's only one module, one slot for one memory stick. And right now it's propagated by a 4 gig DDR3 memory stick. So what I have here is two 8 gig sticks. It's just, I bought a bundle, or I bought the deal for two 8 gig sticks, and I'll only be using one of them, this one memory module here that's 8 gigs. So I'll be upgrading this laptop memory to 8 gigs, and that's pretty much the max that you'll be able to get out of this. This whole kit right here was 65 bucks from Amazon. I think they sell the single module 8 gig stick for 38 bucks. I just bought the two because it was a better deal. I don't even know what other device I'll be plugging this 8 gig into, but anyways, yeah, so I'll just be using one of these modules here. And I gotta say that I've already kind of opened this up to take a look, and I'll admit this is a very difficult upgrade. This laptop was really meant for you to just buy, use it until it can't be used anymore, and throw it away. Not really meant to be upgrade friendly. It's not at all upgrade friendly. As a matter of fact, it is probably, though, for those who are intermediate to advanced, not really novice or beginners or anybody who's never opened up a laptop before. This is not for you. This is for people who kind of already know what they're doing, and this video is just kind of going to give them a look inside as to what to expect when opening this. And that is because this is not built as like most traditional laptops. There are no panels, no doors here that you can just open up and pop out the memory, pop in new memory, or the hard drive doors where you can just slide out a hard drive. You have to pretty much basically disassemble this thing completely, almost completely. Taking this whole keyboard bezel thing out and even removing the motherboard just to get access to the memory modules. So again, don't do this because it can potentially ruin your laptop, and if you do that, you're not going to be able to get any support or warranty or anything like that. And yeah, this could seriously just ruin your laptop, right? So again, do that at your own risk. Hopefully this video will be informative enough for you so you can see all of the steps and bits and pieces that's going to come apart here, right? So let's begin now by unscrewing everything on the bottom part of this laptop here. And before I usually do this, I like to have a piece of paper here with some numbers on it, little boxes, and I put screws as to each step that I go through. You can also label it, you know, like panel, bottom panel, whatever, or hard drive screws, or stuff like that, motherboard screws, etc., etc. And you can place them here and just set them aside so that you can go back and retrace your steps. So that's what I usually like to do with that. So I'll have that on the side here. So I'm going to go ahead and just begin. Luckily, all of these bottom panel screws here are all the same size. Many of the screws inside the laptop are also the same size. I can't exactly say that all of the screws are the same size, but there will be a few screws that are not the same size. Oh, these two screws right here are actually longer by a little bit than these screws. So the rest of these screws here are actually shorter, and these two in the back by the battery are longer. We're going to go ahead and remove the battery here. There's also a couple of screws here on the battery that we have to remove. Alright, so here is one of the more difficult steps on here, and that is to separate the bezel here, the top keyboard, trackpad, all this, and separate it from the chassis. And so this is all plastic. You got to remember, it's all plastic, and you got to be very, very careful. So I'm using a wedge spudger tool thing here, and it's also plastic. I recommend that you stick with using plastic tools on this plastic laptop, right? So I'm kind of just running it across here. Kind of want to take it easy. And you want to be in the best angle. I am not in a good angle. I'm working on this because of the camera that I gotta be able to show you while I'm doing all this. Alright, so you don't exactly want to just yank this keyboard up too much, because there is a data cable. There is a keyboard data cable underneath there. Alright, so I'm on this side with a power cord plug here, then this USB and the Kensington lock side, and it's a little bit easier to access, but there's two cables connected to the motherboard here, the trackpad cable and the keyboard cable here. And so on the trackpad cable there is this little tab that we got to kind of flip up, and this cable, be careful with this cable that you don't rip it, that it's kind of stuck or glued to the motherboard here. So right where it connects is this little tab that we got to lift up, right? And be careful with that, because that could break if you go too hard. And you kind of want to gently peel that ribbon. I'm going to use tweezers so that you can just kind of see. I don't recommend that you actually use tweezers because you could damage the cable, but I'm just going to try to pry this. Hopefully you're able to see it. See me actually remove the cable here. And again, you should probably use your fingers on this, and then that's it. It just slides out real easily. Same thing with the keyboard cable here. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this up, and then this cable will come out easily, and that's it. And so now we can take the keyboard off. That's pretty much it. Alright, so if you were going to just upgrade the hard drive here, this is a fairly simple process. We can just go ahead and pull this tab up here gently, and there's a little blue tab here that we can use to pull this cable out. And so this cable is taped onto the hard drive here. So gently pull that off, or take it out altogether, but don't forget to put this back. Then we'll go ahead and unscrew this hard drive here. Then you're gonna slide out this hard drive and then take it out. And then we gotta take this bracket off and add it to the new hard drive. Right, so before I actually install this, I'm going to need to upgrade the memory first, so I'll do this last. Alright, so now I actually have to remove this entire motherboard here along with this little piece in order to access the memory chip. So the motherboard here has these screws, and there's a little arrow indicating that these are the screws that go back onto the motherboard inside here. These other holes here that you see that are missing screws, it just this is where the front bezel or underneath, the screws underneath connects to the motherboard here, and the front top bezel here. Alright, so let's start by unscrewing all of these. Alright, there's a couple of screws here on this little device. Alright, and there's also a couple of screws for the fan. Alright, so what we got to do is remove this speaker connection here, and it is actually really difficult. It's really in there really good, so you're going to have to really pry it open, right? But be careful not to rip the cables out. Alright, and then next we're going to push out the wireless cables here. So make sure that you try to press straight down, get close to it as much as you can, and press straight down on it. And these are the two cables here for the wireless. And then next we're going to slide out the monitor cable here. So once you remove the tape, you can kind of just hold here, and there's two little tabs here, and just push straight out. and the cable comes out. And then now we're ready to lift out the board, and it is a little bit difficult because it kind of has to bend a little just enough to get this out of the socket there. And be very, very careful and delicate. It comes straight out, and that's it right there. Alright, so here we have the memory chip. Be very, very careful with it. A lot of people were asking if the CPU was upgradable. I'm not exactly sure as to how to upgrade this or what to replace it with. Not really interested in upgrading the CPU, but I'm assuming that you remove these 3 screws here and turn this little knob, and you should be able to lift the CPU out and replace it with another mobile CPU. You're not going to be able to put like a desktop CPU in here. And there's a little sticker here that says you're going to void your warranty if you remove this screw or this sticker. Right? So let's go ahead and remove the RAM. And just pull on the tabs there, lift up, pull out. Then we're going to insert our new RAM in reverse order. I'm going to line up this slot right here. Just slide this in at an angle and then press down, and that's it for upgrading the memory. Now we got to put this thing back together. Alright, so the first thing I want to do that's going to make it somewhat easier to put back is the antennas here. So we're going to snap this back into place. And they got to go straight on. And set this down gently. Easy, easy. Alright, put this back. Make sure everything's lined up. Plug the speakers back in. Alright, now put all the screws back in. Alright, so now we're going to install the hard drive, and we're going to kind of drop this down at an angle a little bit sideways. We're going to slide it into the connector. And then slide it in. Everything lines up. We need to put back our cable here. And as it's indicated here, MB motherboard on this cable here. This is the cable that connects to this end right here, motherboard. So you slide this in, and then press the tab down. Alright, so now we are going to attach our cable, keyboard cable here. So we're going to slide this in, and there's a little white line on the cable itself, and then there's also a little white line on the motherboard, and you just got to line those up. And once they are lined up, you can close the little tab here. And you want to do the same thing for our little guy right here. Just push this little cable in. Then go ahead and make sure there's nothing underneath here that's going to get pinched. Alright, so I got everything screwed back in and it's all plugged up, ready to go. So I'm going to start it up for the very first time, and screen comes on, which is a good sign. And apparently I have to set my time. Sorry for the flickering of the screen here. This monitor isn't really a high refresh rate for the camera. Alright, so I changed the time here and I just noticed total memory is 8 gigs, which is a good sign there. And so we want to take a look at the hard drive. Hard drive is there, which is a good sign as well. Alright, so we are ready to boot our Windows 7 installation. I have the USB thumb drive here with my Windows installation on it, and I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to go ahead and save and exit. And if you want to know how to make that thumb drive, check out the other video that I've created on how to create a Windows 7 installation thumb drive. And that's pretty much it. Once you install it, you're also going to need to install the drivers, and a link in the description will have the drivers, a download, a zip file of all the drivers for this particular laptop here. So definitely check that out, download it, and it's specifically only for this laptop, those drivers. But I do recommend that you go online as well and download the necessary drivers for or the latest drivers for this particular laptop online on the Asus website. And that's pretty much it for upgrading the hard drive and the RAM on this budget-friendly laptop. Prices and everything will be in the description, and how much it costs or whatever. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later.